Welcome to the Burton Art Gallery and Museum. In this museum, you can discover some of the amazing stories of Northern Devon. Let's start with Bideford Bridge. In front of you is a model showing how the design of the bridge has changed since it was first built in the year 1280. Bideford, as the name suggests, was a town that grew up beside the ford. The ford is a little upstream from where the bridge stands, where it's possible to cross the river at low tide. The turbulent River Torridge has strong currents and high tides. It's home to otters and heron, salmon, freshwater mussels and many other creatures as well as humans. Bideford Bridge is sometimes called the Long Bridge, which makes sense as it's one of the longest medieval bridges in England. Curiously, its 24 arches are also all of slightly different widths. Why do you think it was built in that way? The people that walked across it when it was a wooden structure did so in the age of knights and castles. People crossed the bridge hundreds of years ago when Europeans first travelled across the Atlantic to the land we now call America. People crossed the bridge in times of peace and in times of war. It's the heart of the town, and you can see it on the town crest or insignia. If you visited Bideford when the bridge was 400 years younger, you'd have seen the quay crowded with the masts of tall ships. Bideford in those days was a major port, in fact one of the biggest and busiest in the country. To get a sense of how these boats were, you can check out the curious model ships in this room. These exquisitely detailed constructions were made by French sailors captured 200 years ago and imprisoned in Dartmoor during the Napoleonic Wars. The models are all the more astonishing as they were made out of the bones of their prison rations of meat and threads from their clothing. The great ships of Bideford carried Europeans across the Atlantic to explore and to colonise. You'll see the mast of a tall ship on the crest of Bideford and plenty of maritime designs on the traditional Graffiti Pottery in this room and elsewhere in the Burton. Graffito means to scratch on a design. This type of pottery is made using red clay, which is covered with a thin layer of white clay, which is scratched away to reveal the red clay underneath. The pot is then glazed with a local mineral to give it its distinctive yellowish colour. This pottery was brought by Europeans in their travels across the Atlantic. Its distinctive colour and scratch design means it's easy for archaeologists in America to identify. In this room, you'll also see how the Graffiti pottery and white pipe clay was used when Europeans began to exploit the natural resources of North America. The big trade then was in tobacco. Originally a sacred plant of the Native American people, growing and exporting it to Britain and mainland Europe became big business, allowing some people to become wealthy and respected and leading others into poverty and suffering. The demand for tobacco was such that it led to the enslavement of Native Americans and later the transatlantic slave trade between Africa and the British colonies in America. This connection is why the first Native American person to come to Europe was brought around 1588, most likely as a prisoner, to Bideford. You can see his image in profile embossed on a clay tile in this gallery. There are other stories too. The tale of the strange mineral beneath the town known as Bideford Black, which was mined here until the 1960s. This intensely dark pigment, which is actually remains of prehistoric trees, was used for everything from protecting the hulls of boats to creating makeup. Then there's the tragic tale of the Bideford witches, the last people to be hanged for the crime of witchcraft in England. You can discover the work of local artists and much more, so please take your time. Thanks for listening. We hope you have a great time exploring the museum and all the other galleries. Oh, and if you take any cool pictures and post them to social media, please add our hashtags. And if you want to know more, use the QR code or web address to visit our website. Have a great visit, and remember, stay curious.